Learning and development is getting more and more attention in our current business environment, with the recognition that there's serious upskilling and cross-skilling needed to future-proof our workforce in a very uncertain, complex, changing environment. Often, in my experience, learning and development leaders struggle to have the influence or access to senior leadership that they really ought to have in an organisation. And I think the more that we can work on our strategic contribution and business acumen, the likelier we are to be able to get the opportunities to participate more regularly at the top table and at the most senior levels of decision making in our organisation. As a learning and development leader, there's a great opportunity for us in the years ahead. I think there's several areas that we can work on from a self-development perspective and from a wider leadership perspective that will really enable us to add value. My background is partly in training. My heritage is very much in financial. I trained with a Big Four audit firm, and I developed and delivered training and learning and development for that organisation in Australia as part of my roles and responsibilities. But much of my career has been centred around finance and COO and chair and CEO roles. I was the CFO for a $6.5 billion listed group operating in over 70 countries, and I've been involved with over 150 operating businesses on the ground, over 50 acquisitions, assessing businesses for the potential for acquisition, assessing management teams, assessing the quality of the business. I've encapsulated the lessons of all my experiences in this programme, a journey of self-reflection and thought provocation. I'll take you on a 3-hour journey, well over 100 short, sharp, punchy, reflective videos. You don't need to do it all in one go. You don't have to do 3 hours solid. You can break it out easily into 10 or 15 minute chunks on a daily basis. Through the course of that, woven together is a 30 minutes real world MBA. It's not really focused on business administration. It's focused on business acumen and leadership. I cover the business ecosystem we all operate in, finance for non-financial managers, how to understand organisations from an activity standpoint, and therefore the commercial dynamics that arise. Once you're able to dissect a business into, I believe there's 7 different activities that we'll potentially find in any organisation. There's certain dynamics that are unique to each of those 7. And when we understand those, it's much easier to be able to understand the business dynamics. So I cover that. I also cover this opportunity to look at our team, if we run a team, but also if we don't run a team, just our contribution to the wider organisation through the lens of PPMC leadership, people, principles, mechanics and culture. In my experience, the successful teams tend to cover 4 bases really well. They don't tend to fall down in any of those areas. They don't necessarily have to be perfect, but they perform well across those 4 bases. They're good enough across all those 4 bases, more than good enough usually. Within each of these 4 areas, there's certain considerations that we can make. There's tools that we can use, real world tools that I've evolved based on my experiences over the years. But there's also areas where we can contribute very strategically and commercially. So I cover that in detail, and in amongst it there's elements of strategic planning, project management. There's elements that are related to the feeling that we're trying to create in an organisation as we create a vibrant culture, because culture is our fuel. There's also an opportunity to connect directly with me. I will invite you to an online forum, and it's an opportunity to raise any questions. The whole purpose of this programme is to share the lessons of experience and to provoke thought and to teach tools and to share knowledge. It's a time to take a breather, to really think about our environment, our contribution, and to look at what can we do in this organisation to establish the level of influence that a learning leader in this age really ought to have in an organisation. You can find the programme by clicking the link in the description or the comments. Also, I do keynotes and talks, lunch and learns, breakfast and learns, online forums. There's an opportunity there also to join the App Performance Highway community, and please do subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.